All right, we're getting close enough to that time of the month where it's not going to matter within a few days to get to the middle of the month. So we're going to go through some of the GPU prices, especially since it's been I'm filming this right after Prime Day happened and got over with. So today is the 10th. So we're going to go through the current GPU prices as they stand after Prime Day. There were plenty of videos and plenty of news sources doing pricing on Prime Day, so we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to do it after Prime Day and go through the current prices. A couple more things to touch on real quick before we get to it. One, I've had a few people ask me in the recent past about my speculations on the 50 series GPUs coming out for NVIDIA and about the new RDNA 4 GPUs coming out. I touched on that a little bit in a previous video on tech news that I did a couple weeks back. So first and foremost, a lot of titles in videos and articles are going to be coming out, and they have come out, and more will come out with pure speculation. All right, and so just take everything that you read and hear with a grain of salt when it comes to that stuff, because it's probably not going to be what a lot of people think it's going to be. Mostly because history has taught us that the speculation when it comes to things like NVIDIA GPUs coming out, that they've come pretty close to near spot on, ranging all the way to completely off base. So there's no reason to get all excited about the speculative stuff. There's no reason to dive deep into the speculative stuff, mostly because it's just, it's all speculation until the actual data comes out. And the data will come out soon enough. So just have some patience. That stuff will come out, and then we'll know exactly what we're really dealing with. And then we'll do a video on that stuff rather than doing a bunch of guesswork and wondering what's happening and things like that. The other thing I wanted to touch on is as far as the charts are concerned, because there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be going through. And I've explained ad nauseum in previous videos that you can find right up there probably, where I talk about what each of the specific columns mean and why those numbers are there. So we're not going to go through that with this video, and probably moving forward I might remind people of certain things, but for the most part we're going to just get to the meat of it. All right, so let's get to it. All right, as you can see here, the 4090 price is jacked up. The average price is 2004. So yeah, humongous difference there. Huge problem with the 4090 price, and that a lot of that is driven by the fact that the 4090s are they're scarce now, so the prices are getting jacked up, and so you're going to see prices like this. You're probably going to see 2200, 2300, 2800. As far as individual models go. This is just as a reminder, these are all average prices of the lowest priced models that are out there. All right, so 4080 Super, that price went up. The 4070 Ti Super, that price went a little bit down compared to September, but it's still in line with prices that we've seen in the past. 4070 Ti, similar thing. It's gone down a little bit. It's at a historical low for the year, but not so much that it stands out. 584 for the 4070 Super, so that's definitely going in the right direction. That's also at the 1 year or year to date low, but not so different than July and August, so it doesn't really stand out for price points. The 4070 is at 540, so a lower tier price, but still up there. Not a huge change there. 4060 Ti 16 gig for 42, so not a lot of change there. 4060 Ti 8 gig, that price come down a little bit, but not a lot. And the 4060 is heading in the right direction at 291. Interestingly enough, there is a model right now as of filming that MSI Ventus 2X White is at $285 right now. So that's interesting. It was right before Prime Day. It was at 330. Before that was at about 310, and so it'll probably go back to around like 310 or something like that. But anyways, right now it's at 285 on Newegg. This is after like a $20 mail-in rebate. All right. And then we got the 7900 XTX. That's at 928. It did hit like on Prime Day like 785 or something like that for one or two models, I think it was. And right now, as of filming, there are two models sitting at about $830. The ASRock Phantom and the Sapphire Pulse sitting at $830. But overall, the average price is right now is at $928. All right. 7900 XT, that's at $632. So that's at a decent chunk lower than its historical price for year to date. So that's why I highlighted that in yellow. So $632 is an interesting price for that GPU. And then we got the 7900 GRE at $538, so not a lot of difference there. 7800 XT is at its historical year-to-date price low point at $453, so that's a decent chunk pacing downward. So that's good. That's why that's highlighted yellow. The 7700 XT is at $385, so not a lot of change there. 7600 XT is at $313, not a huge change there. 7600 is at $251, so flat relative to September. 6800, now that one's highlighted in purple because this one's interesting. 6800, the RX 6800, there is nothing on the market right now that I could find where the 6800 is for sale. So that price is actually for the 6800 XT. Right, and that model, there's a model out there that is at $430, but all the other models that are the 6800 XT are at $765 and above. All right, so that's an interesting development right there. 6750 XT is at $354, so around middle of the road, a little bit above middle of the road from its annual average pricing. So nothing exciting there. 6650 XT is at $235, so that's creeping back down towards its low. So that's a little bit on the interesting side. The average for the 6650, however, is from two models. The rest of the models that are for sale are at 373 and above. So this is a little bit skewed on that. Right, and then the RX 6600 is at 200, so not a lot of change there. It's going in the wrong direction though. The A770 is at 277, which is matching its July low for year to date, but nothing really all that exciting there. The A750 is at 195, and that one is there's a model, the Sparkle Orc, is on sale right now for $180, so that's interesting. And then we got the A580, which is at 178, so it's at its actual highest price for year to date, and there's only two models available right now, just like last month. All right, so yeah, like I said in the last video, that price is probably going to start creeping up because there's low inventory on the 580. All right, which, you know, honestly, it's not a very good card. I wouldn't get it even at this price point. If it was like $125, $130, then yeah, maybe take a look at that card. But other than that, yeah, it's not worth it. All right, so looking at the January versus October percentage changes on prices, it's gone up 16.6%, almost 17% of the price has gone up. This is at its annual high, year-to-date high, 2004 on average. So yeah, stay away from the 4090. 4080 Super is 3.1% above its beginning of the year price. And then you got the 4070 Ti Super that is going in the right direction at minus 4.5%. So like I said, that price is equal to its low point year to date at 788. So that's a decent sign there. The 4070 Ti is at 732, which is at its annual year to date low. So that's going in the right direction, and that's why that's blue. It's above minus 5%, right? And then we got the 4070 Super, which is at 584, also at year-to-date low at 584. And just to reiterate, I think this might be my favorite NVIDIA card, and you'll see here why when we go over into the price to performance on the frame rates. All right, and then you got the 4070 is at minus 2.9%. 4060 Ti 16 gig is at minus 5.4%. 4060 Ti is at minus 6.3%. And the 4060 is at minus 5.8%. Nothing that's standing out as far as major shifts. But that 4070 Ti, the 4070 Super, and the 4060 Ti 8 gig seem to be leading the pack as far as price reductions go. All right. And then for AMD GPUs, we got the 7900 XTX, which is minus 6% for compared to the January pricing. So that's good, but its recent change in price is actually up 1.6% between September and October. So that's interesting, especially right after they had some sales and while there's a couple of models that are selling at $830. So that's interesting. The 7900 XT, that's going at a good clip at minus 11%, and recent change numbers and average change is decent. 7900 GRE, nothing exciting there. 7800 XT is at minus 11.2% January versus October. So that's a decent chunk, and it's clipping at about an average of minus 1.2% month over month for year to date. And the price went down by almost 5%. So, you know, again, that price is at its year-to-date low. And then we got the 7700 XT, that's at minus 3.1%. I believe it was slightly higher last month. No, it was about the same. A little bit different. And then you got the 7600 XT, that's at minus 7.4%. You got the 7600, that's at minus 7%. The 6800 is, there's no 6800 to buy. And so these numbers right here are speaking specifically to the 6800 XT versus the 6800 prices. So you might want to just ignore these numbers. 6750 XT is at minus 9.2%, although it was a whole lot better the previous month at 310 versus 354. So it's going actually in the wrong direction, even though that price is not a bad price, it's not a good price either. As a matter of fact, right here, recent percentage change, so between September and October, that price has gone up by 14%. So most likely the inventory for the 6750 XT is getting low. 6650 XT is at minus 9.6% versus January. It's clipping at about 0.6% month to month over the course of the year. So not a huge variance going on with the 6650 XT. So Nothing majorly exciting about that. The 6600, that price went up by $9 or 4.7% between September and October. And so nothing exciting going on there. The A770, minus 9.8%, and the price went down. And the price is at its lowest. It's matching its lowest point from July at 277. So that's not bad. It's nothing exciting because it's just repeating itself. So, you know, nothing major to speak about there. The A770, I mean 750, the A750 is at near the lowest point. The lowest point was back in July at 187. It's at 195. And that's the one where there's a model out there for 180, which is the lowest price year to date. So there's that. And then you got the A580, nothing exciting there. Stay away from that GPU. All right. And then going back to this part right here, where we're talking about cost per frame. So I did something a little bit different because I realized that maybe my color schemes and price per cost per frame was a little bit unfair when comparing 1080p to 1440p to 4K, because it does cost more, right, for you to be able to afford to play it at 1440p and at 4K. Whether it's because of the GPU or the monitors you're using or the CPU you're using, you have increased costs there, right? And so it didn't seem fair to use the same cost per frame as a green marker for 1080p gaming as 1440p gaming, and similarly with 4K. So I made some adjustments. Instead of just doing $4, less than $4 a frame across the board between 1080, 1440, and 4K, I made adjustments where it scales up, meaning that at less than $4 a frame, 1080p is cost effective, right? Less than $5 a frame, 1440p is in the green, it's good. Less than $6 a frame is good for 4K, right? And then acceptable is less than $6 a frame for 1080p, less than $7 a frame for 1440p, less than $8 a frame for 4K. Where it starts getting into high numbers is if the cost per frame is less than $8 a frame, or less than $9 a frame for 1440p, less than $10 a frame for 4K. If it's in the red, then that means it's greater than $8 a frame at 1080p. It's greater than $9 a frame for 1440p, and greater than $10 a frame for 4K. All right, so just wanted to clarify that, the changes that I made there as far as my personal gauge. And again, can't stress this enough, these are my personal feelings on where I think the cost per frame is fair, depending on 1080p, 1440p, or 4K. And so if you don't agree with those numbers or those tiers that I created, those color tiers, that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. You know, you feel the way you feel. You feel, if you feel differently about what the cost per frame should be, then just ignore the color schemes. Just look at the straight numbers. All right. All right. So 4090, obviously that went up across the board. So yeah, we're not even going to talk about the 4090. 4080 super. A little bit of change, and just like I said last week, you know, these are directly reflective of the price changes that we just went through on all these models for NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel. So what I'm going to point out here are the greens and the yellows. The oranges are where things start getting concerning, and the red means just pretty much stay away from it. All right, so on the green side, you got the 4060 Ti and the 4060 Ti 8 gig and the 4060. Both of those GPUs for NVIDIA are in the green on 1080p and 1440p. and then going up to from the 4060 Ti 16 gig all the way up to the 4070 Ti Super. We're in the yellow on 1080p and 1440p gaming. So those are decent value GPUs that you could be seriously considering for any system that you're looking at. All right. I would stay away from the 4080 Super right now, and I would stay away from the 4090. Those prices are going to go up, so you know it's not going to get any better for you. All right. And then on the AMD side, the stuff that's in green, there's a lot of green in 1080p and 1440p for AMD. All the way from 6600 all the way up to the 7900 GRE. You can disregard the 6800 pricing or cost per frame because you know that's going to be skewed, right? But yeah, all green right there. And then the 7900 XT is in the yellow for 1080 and 1440p. Interestingly enough, the 7900 XTX, that cost per frame for 1080p is in the orange, right? So it's on the high side. So yeah, and honestly, if you're getting the 7900 XTX and you're playing 1080p, I think you made a poor choice there. So, you know, 1440p is perfectly acceptable. 7900 XTX for 1440p. All right, and then we got a decent chunk of yellow for 4K on the AMD GPUs. You got the 7700 XT. You got the best cost per frame out of the 7800 XT. And then you've got the 7900 GRE and the 7900 XT are pretty close to each other. All right. And then on the Intel GPUs, because their prices are so low, everything's going to be in the green in 1080p and 1440p, right? That doesn't make them good GPUs, right? They're decent GPUs. If you look at the 1080p frame rates and the 1440p frame rates, they're acceptable and decent, but they're not great, right? So yeah, these are not going to hold up over time. That's the problem with these. Right, so, and then you got all three of them are in the yellow on 4K gaming, but again, you gotta look at these numbers, not just the colors and the cost per frame, but you gotta look at what the resultative frames per second are really saying, because the price points will skew this to make it look like it's great value, and it might be great value to some, but it might not be to others if they're paying attention to what they can expect from a frame rate standpoint, right? So that's where we're at with GPU prices overall. So if you see any other screaming deals out there, or deals that price points that are pretty concerning, write them down in the comment section and let everybody know what you're seeing out there, because you know I'm not going to be able to catch all of it, but you know you guys can help. At the same time, we're right around the corner from Black Friday and holiday sales and things like that. Those are going to start to ramp up, and so we're going to take a closer look at what those prices are looking like when they go on sale. The only thing that's going to make them go on sale is if there's a glut in the market and they're trying to get rid of inventory. That's the only reason why they'll go on sale. It won't be because it's the holidays. So don't bank on the holidays as far as great price points. I might get proven wrong once we take a look at the prices once they roll out, but I don't think so. So we'll see. Come November, we're going to take a look at these prices. I might actually do some back-to-back videos where let me know if that's what you want, where we'll look at the prices right before the Black Friday sales go on, whether they're earlier than Black Friday or not, as the online stores tend to do. And then we'll take a look at the prices as they roll out when they do go on sale, and we'll compare those prices. Anyways, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you guys hitting those likes and subscribes. Those are doing wonders for the channel. It certainly encourages me to keep doing these kind of videos for you guys and getting that information out there for you. So hit that like and subscribe for me. And again, thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.